What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk to you about the bags that I've lusted over but never purchased. There are so many bags I feel like I've lusted over, obsessed over, thought about for so long, for years essentially, and I just never pulled the trigger for one reason or another. And I'm actually glad I never did. And this is why it's so important, at least for me, that when I think about a bag that I want to buy, that I'm thinking about it for a really, really long time, because sometimes that feeling just goes away and dissipates and you're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't get that. So these are all really good things that I did not buy. So the first thing that I lusted over was another Chanel 19 bag. So this is the one that I have, which is this gorgeous green. But I've always wanted, I love this bag so much that I really did think about getting a second. And if you know me, then I just don't get duplicates of the same silhouette or the same style bag, because I don't like my bags competing with each other, because then they just get neglected. So I really wanted to get another one of these though, because it is so functional for me, and I wanted to get it in black or maybe even another fun color. And I really, really thought about it for a long time, and I am so glad I never did, because there are just too many other bags on the market that are just going to come along one day in the future that I'm going to love and lust over, that I may actually get. And having two of the same thing for me when there's limited real estate space in your closet doesn't make sense to me, and it's not how, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like as much fun if you have the same two bags just in different colors. So I figured it would be best to not do that. But this is such a great bag that I did think about getting it, even in a classic black, because that's just so standard and goes with everything and anything. But as I thought about it, I eventually came to my senses and realized that I don't need another one. So I did lust over it for a super long time. Glad I didn't get it. The next bag that I lusted over for a couple of years, I would say, is a Saint Laurent college bag in the size small. And I was so close to pulling the trigger so many times and buying it. It's such a functional bag to me. It has a little top handle. I'll throw up a picture. It's got the chevron quilting. It's got a crossbody strap. It just seemed like everything and more that I would want in a handbag. Just the functionality of it, the practicality of it, the size of it, and capacity. And I watched so many reviews, just dreaming about it and thinking I was going to get it. And I was so close so many times. But I just never got it, because I also seen the wear and tear of it, and it doesn't wear very well. Like, it just starts to kind of curl on itself. The leather doesn't seem very nice anymore over a long period of time, and it didn't look very nice. I also have this thing where YSL bags just don't work for me. I've bought a couple of Saint Laurent items. I've sold them both, and I'm always so close to buying a Saint Laurent bag or item, and there's just something stopping me. I'm not sure what it is, but there's just something stopping me every time, and I never really pull the trigger for some reason. There's always something stopping me, and I think it's just not for me. Like, I love seeing it on other people, and I love seeing it from afar. I just can't get on board with it. So I think it's just not my cup of tea, not my brand. And I finally came to terms with that. So I'm glad I never bought the college bag. Okay, so the next bag I'm glad I never bought was the Balenciaga. I think it's the City Mini bag, but it's not the current Neo line where they've redone it and updated it and made the City bag more structured. Like, I hate that trapezoid shape. I like that regular rectangle shape that they originally had in like the early 2000s. And that is a bag that I have lusted over ever since I saw it in like the early 2000s. I remember walking through a department store and being like, oh my God, I love this. I want this so badly. And then I remember looking at the price tag and I was like, holy crap, I cannot afford this. So I never got it, and then years went by and I always still lusted over it, but I just never bought it. And I'm glad I didn't, because what I then wanted for a really long time was the mini size. And I was even looking on the pre-loved market for it. I've been to outlets where I've seen it, and I was so close to pulling the trigger on that. And I'll throw up a picture if I can find one. And now we know what's going on with Balenciaga. So I'm glad I never bought it, because I just, you know what? Aside from the whole drama that's going down with Balenciaga right now, I just know it's not a bag that I would wear when I'm 65 years old. I mean, you can wear anything when you're 65. You can rock anything. But I just know for me personally, I wouldn't wear it when I'm 65. And that's how I like to think about things when I buy handbags in particular. They've really got to take me through the many, many years. And even though I've loved it for the past 20 years, I just know that for the next 20 years, it's not going to stay with me. It's not going to be my vibe. So I'm glad I never got that. Another bag that I had been lusting over for a super long time, and I would just keep going on the website and keep looking at it and thinking, I'm going to get this. Should I get this? Whatever, is it's the cosmetic bag, but it's from Gucci, and it's the Ophidia makeup bag, or vanity case or something or other. I'll put up a picture, but it's basically the Gucci monogram with the green and red webbing. And I love this classic Gucci. Like, I love this. It's very classic to me. The makeup bag, the vanity bag though, that I was looking at is actually a vanity. It's not necessarily used as a bag, although I think some people do. I don't think I would have ever used it as a bag, but I would have used it as a vanity. But then I think about like real life. Am I really going to use it as a vanity? No, because I would never want to get it disgusting with my makeup and foundation. So I knew I wouldn't use it in the way that it was designed to be used. And so I thought I would use it as more of a decor piece. But I don't know, there's something too practical about me sometimes, where I'm just like, do you really need something that expensive and non-functional as a decor piece? And I don't know, it just didn't seem like, and you know, every year I've seen the price go up and up and up on that item, so I'm like, it just became less worth it to me. But I did lust over it for a super long time. So in the end though, today I'm glad I didn't get it, even though I had been eyeing it for so long. So this is why, again, I'm so glad I wait on things and think about them. Another thing that I've lusted over for so many years was the Louis Vuitton Keepall. And we all know that Louis Vuitton is known for their luggage. I knew I would never get a hard case, because that would just not be, I wouldn't wear it. I wouldn't use it at an airport. I don't travel enough to be able to get the money out of it, to get the use out of it. So I knew I would never get a suitcase, but I always kind of thought about the Keepall. But I always know that when I see reviews on that, it's so not functional, it's so heavy, it's so cumbersome, it's annoying, and everyone hates it that owns it. So I knew I didn't want to get that in the end, and I'm glad I didn't. But it is something that I lusted over, and I was always eyeing the Keepall 45, because I know that's the smaller one of the bunch. So again, glad I didn't get that. But sometimes it's just nice to appreciate things from afar, and that be it. Like, you don't have to purchase it. So I'm glad I never bought that. And for me to have a fancy luggage piece, a designer luggage piece, is just such a is just not something I need. I know I don't need it. And it really is just something like if I had, you know, all the money in the world, maybe, but it's not a priority at all. Another bag that I'm so glad I didn't get was the Dior book tote, or even the Louis Vuitton on the go tote. When those two bags came out, it was all the rage. Everybody had them. Everyone was posting about it. Everyone loved it and was, you know, Instagramming it, whatever. But and the on the go was on my radar less so. I think the Dior book tote was more on my radar and more something that I was lusting after, because Dior's embroidery is so gorgeous and there were so many like different options and colors, and it wasn't boring. It was very artistic and it was very, I don't know, there was just something so beautiful about them. And they are so bloody expensive though that I couldn't do it. I could never do it. In theory, I love a tote bag. I am a tote bag girl in theory, but in real life, I'm not really a tote bag person. I love a good tote bag and I will use tote bags, but I don't really need a big one. And the Dior book tote is especially clunky. It has no lining in it, which is really not functional. And there's just no pockets or functionality that made it user friendly. So I knew from the reviews that it wasn't something that I would ever go for, because it was more beautiful than it was functional. And it seems like when you watch a lot of these kinds of reviews, a lot of people are like, I love it, but I don't use it. It's just too cumbersome. So I'm glad it was something that I was just lusting after, but not in love with enough to actually pull the trigger and buy. So that's it, guys. That's my list of things that I was lusting after but never purchased. And I hope you enjoyed that list, and let me know below which bags you've lusted after that you're glad that you never bought either. And sometimes just admiring something from afar is just as satisfying, especially when you know in the end that you've made the right decision by not buying it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please go binge watch some of my other videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye.